Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Senopati Handoko Sakti in student number 24106-11228. On this occasion, I'm gonna make some review about employment contract between employee and employer. Before we move further away to the contract itself, let's make an understanding about what is the employment contract. An employment contract is a formal agreement between an employer and employee. It outlines the terms of employment, including job responsibilities, salary, benefits, and how the job can be ended by either party. Now, let's review about employment contract between Kuwait Royal Hospital and Marwa Kamal Kamel. Now, we're facing up the header of the contract. In the header, this employment contract contains job reference number and date of issue as a legal archive. Also, the header showed the clear parties between Kuwait Royal Hospital as an employer and Marwa Kamal Kamel as an employee for the company rights and responsibility parts. Besides of that, this employment contract also has an agreement parties. In an employment contract, there are two main parties, the employer and the employee. When they enter into this agreement, they are essentially making a promise to each other about how their working relationship will function. This agreement can be made either verbally or in writing and establish mutual obligations and rights. If either sides want to change any aspect of the contract later on, they typically need to discuss it and come to a new agreement. And now we move to the contract body of an employment contract. The contract body also contains several informations about the contract itself. First of all is contract hours and the probation period. Contract hours are the hours explicitly stated in the employment contract. They represent the minimum number of hours an employee is expected to work each week and are foundational for salary calculations and entitlements such as annual leave. For example, a typical full-time contract in many regions may stipulate 35 to 40 hours per week. The probation period is a critical component of many employment contracts, serving as an initial phase where both employer and the employee evaluate their compatibility. This period allows for a mutual assessment of job performance and fit within the organizations, typically lasting between 1 to 6 months. Next is the salary and the allowance sections. The salary and allowance section states that the employee will receive a monthly salary of 3,900 Kuwait dirham, paid in 12 equal installments on the 25th of each month via bank transfer. The hospital also provides an annual business class return air ticket to the employee's home country, along with accommodations, medical insurance, and education support for up to 2 children. While the benefits are clear, further details on accommodations and education support will enhance transparency. The allowance and entitlement sections provide valuable financial support beyond the salary. Each allowance is clearly mentioned, but more details about what each allowance covers and any conditions or limits will help avoid confusions. By clearly explaining the scope and intended use of each allowance, both the employer and the employee can ensure they are on the same page and prevent any misunderstandings. Now we move into work permit sections and annual leave sections. The work permit sections of the employment contract specify that the employees from offset Kuwait are responsible for the costs associated with obtaining their work permits. However, the hospital commits to reimbursing the employee for the full amount paid, along with any additional expense incurred, upon the employee's return to work and submissions of proof expenses, such as receipts. The contract grants 30 calendar days of annual leave plus Kuwait public holidays, with an additional payment of 28.5 Kuwait dirham, alongside with the monthly remunerations. However, it lacks clarity on the currency of the payment, whether it's a lump sum or distributed, the process for scheduling leave, and whether unused leave can be carried forward or compensate. Including these details will improve more transparency of the contracts. Next is the university policy sections and non-compete sections. The university policy sections outlines that employees must adhere to the hospital policies and the employee's handbook, including any updates made at the university's directions. In the event of a conflict, the contract terms take precedence. While this provides flexibility for policy updates, it may raise concerns about the unilateral change. To ensure transparency and fairness, clear process for communication, timelines for implementations, and opportunities for employee input should be considered. The non-compete clause restricts employees from engaging in similar business activities within Kuwait during the contract period and for 6 months after its termination, unless written consent is provided by the hospital. Violations during employment can lead to immediate termination without notice. While this safeguards the hospital interests, it will be more effective with clearer definitions, a well-defined scope, and alignment with labor laws to ensure fairness and transparency. Now is the most important sections of the employment contract: terminations. The terminations clause allows both the hospital and the employee to end the contract with 1 month written notice. The hospital can terminate immediately for cause if the employee breaches the contract and fails to remedy the breach within 5 days of receiving written notice. Upon the terminations, the employee must return all documents and materials related to the hospital business, including business cards, credit cards, security pass, and any media with relevant information. To enhance clarity and fairness, the terms of cause and breach solutions could be more explicitly defined, ensuring both parties understand the expectations and consequences. The last section in the employment contract bodies is the amendments. The amendments clause specifies that any change to the contract must be made in writing and signed by both the hospital and the employee to be valid. The governing law clause indicates that the contract is governed by quality laws and regulations, and both parties agree to the exclusive jurisdictions of quality courts for any legal disputes. These provisions ensure that the modifications are formally agreed upon the established clear legal parameters for resolving issues. The last part of the employment contract is the executions. Execution in an employment contract refers to the formal process of signing the agreement by all involved parties, making it legally binding and enforceable. This step indicates mutual consent to the terms outlined in the contract, obligating both parties to fulfill their respective duties. Execution can occur through traditional signature or electronically, ensuring that the agreement is recognized under law. Without executions, a contract remains a proposal and does not take effect. And that's all the structure of the employment contract I can break down for you guys. In conclusions, this employment contract is well structured, outlining the rights and responsibility of each party in details, thus minimizing the possibility of misunderstandings. Every aspect, from salary and benefits to termination policy, is clearly explained. Furthermore, the contract is drafted in accordance with the applicable laws in Kuwait, ensuring compliance with the country legal requirements and serving as a valid references for solving any future disputes. Thank you for watching my video and see you next time!